I spent Mother's Day alone. My children promised they'd come for brunch, but instead, they showed up that night asking me for money. And that moment changed my life forever. Before we begin, just a small request. Hit the like button to support our stories. And tell me in the comments where you're watching from and how you're doing. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a new story. Your one like, one comment, and one subscribe truly encourages us and keeps us going. Mother's Day was supposed to be simple. Just brunch at my house. Nothing fancy. My children promised they'd come. They said yes clearly, confidently the day before. So I prepared. By 11 in the morning, the table was already set. Clean linens. The good plates I only used on special days. Cloth napkins I had ironed the night before. In the center sat a small bouquet of flowers I bought with the last money from my Social Security check. The chicken was roasting. Potatoes peeled. Salad ready. Everything perfect. I called Tanisha first, the night before. She sounded rushed, distracted, but she said, "Of course, Mama, we'll be there." Then Malik, "Yeah, Ma, don't worry. We're coming." I believed them. At noon, I sat down and waited. 12 to 30 came and went. 1 o'clock arrived. The chicken was done. The smell filled the house, warm, comforting, lonely. I checked my phone, nothing. At 2, I called Tanisha, no answer. Malik, straight to voicemail. I waited. Outside, families passed my window. Mothers laughing with their children, flowers, hugs, love. Inside, I sat alone at a table set for people who weren't coming. By evening, the food was cold. My heart felt worse. At 6, I packed everything away, folded the napkins, put the dishes back, threw the wilted flowers into the trash. Then I sat on the couch in the dark and cried silently. Quiet tears that don't make noise but break something inside you. I am 70 years old, 48 years a mother. And that night, alone in my living room, I finally admitted the truth I had avoided for years. My children didn't love me enough to show up. At almost 10 o'clock, I heard a car pull up. Laughter, voices. The door opened. The light flipped on. There they were, dressed up, smelling like perfume and alcohol. Mama, Tanisha said casually. "Hey Ma," Malik added with a smile. "How was your day?" Then came the real reason they showed up. They needed money. And what they didn't know was this. I had already bought a one-way ticket. That night didn't just break my heart. It woke me up. And what I discovered next changed everything. There was a time when my children needed me. A time when Tanisha ran through the door after school, shouting "Mama," before dropping her bag. A time when Malik followed me into the kitchen just to tell me about his day. Back then, we didn't have much, but we had each other. We lived in a small house on the edge of town. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a kitchen barely big enough for 4 people. My husband, Marcus, worked construction. I cleaned houses. We counted every dollar, but we laughed. We managed. Then one morning, Marcus didn't come home. A construction accident. They said, quick, painless, as if those words could soften the blow. He was 42. I was 30. Suddenly, I was alone with 2 children and no safety net. So I worked harder than I ever thought possible. I cleaned 3 houses a day, washed laundry for other families, ironed late into the night, slept for hours if I was lucky. My hands cracked. My back bent. My knees burned. But my children ate. They had clothes. They went to school. That was all that mattered. As they grew older, things changed. Tanisha grew distant. She compared our life to her friends' lives and blamed me for what we didn't have. Malik stopped dreaming. He stopped drawing. He stopped talking. Slowly, they both began pulling away. Still, I gave. When Tanisha started working, she spent every paycheck on herself. When Malik wanted to move out, I paid his first month's rent with money meant for groceries. When they needed help, rent, bills, emergencies, I never said no. Over 5 years, I gave them more than $20,000. Money I saved by skipping meals. Money I saved by delaying doctor visits. Money I saved by telling myself they need it more than I do. Then, after that lonely Mother's Day, I finally looked where I had never dared to look before social media. There they were. Vacations, parties, expensive dinners, new clothes, smiling faces. And then I saw something that made my stomach turn. A message between them, calling me the old woman, laughing about how I'd always give in. That's when I understood the truth I had avoided for years. I wasn't their mother anymore. I was their backup plan, their wallet. And something inside me finally broke, quietly, completely. But before I walked away, I needed to see just how far their lies really went. I didn't confront them right away. Instead, I watched. For the first time in my life, I stopped believing words and started observing actions. And what I saw confirmed everything I feared. One afternoon, I passed by Malik's workplace. I expected to see him tired, greasy, struggling like he always claimed. Instead, I watched him leave early, laughing, and climb into a car I had never seen before. New, polished, expensive. A young woman joined him, and together they drove off. Curiosity followed me. I took the bus downtown and saw them enter a restaurant where a single meal cost more than my weekly groceries. Through the window, I watched them order wine, smile, joke, and live a life that didn't match the "I can't pay my rent" stories I'd been told. 2 hours later, they left hand in hand, carefree. The next day, I watched Tanisha. She met friends during lunch, walked into a clothing store, and tried on dresses without even checking price tags. One dress cost $200. She hesitated for only a second before saying, "I deserve this." 2 weeks earlier, she had begged me for money, claiming she was drowning in debt. That was the moment denial ended. I went home, sat at my kitchen table, and made a list. Dates, amounts, lies. Over 5 years, I had given them more than $20,000, money they spent on comfort, while I lived on sacrifice. That evening, I called my neighbor, Ellie. She was the only person who still treated me like a human being, not a resource. When I told her everything, she didn't interrupt. She simply said, "Vivian, this has to stop." She helped me contact a lawyer. For the first time, someone asked what I wanted. Not what my children needed. Not what I owed them. What I wanted. With his help, I changed my will. I opened a new bank account they didn't know about. I moved what little savings I had left into a place they couldn't touch. Then I did something I never thought I'd be brave enough to do. I bought a one-way bus ticket. A quiet coastal town, far away. No return date. The ticket wasn't just paper, it was permission. Permission to stop giving. Permission to choose myself. Permission to walk away from a life where love had become a transaction. I hid the ticket in my bedside drawer and looked at it every night, reminding myself this pain had an end date. But before I left, there was one thing left to do. They needed to hear the truth, and I needed to say it out loud. So I invited them to dinner and prepared to end everything they thought they were entitled to. The night I invited my children to dinner, I made their favorite dishes, the ones they loved when they were young, not because they deserved it, but because I needed closure. I wanted them to remember who I had been to them before everything broke. They arrived together, laughing as if nothing was wrong. Tanisha kissed my cheek. Malik asked what smelled so good. We talked about nothing important while they ate. I watched them carefully, searching for even a small sign of gratitude, a hint of love. I found none. After dinner, I cleared the table and returned with a folder and 3 envelopes. Their smiles faded the moment I placed everything between us. I spoke calmly. I told them I knew about the lies, the messages, the money. I showed them the proof numbers, screenshots. Years of sacrifices turned into entertainment. Tanisha cried, Malik argued. I didn't raise my voice once. Then I told them the truth. The money was finished. The house was no longer theirs. My will had changed. My life was mine again. Malik stood up in anger. Tanisha begged. Both tried fear, guilt, and love delayed. I listened without moving. When they finally stopped talking, I opened the door and said one word, "Go." They left. And when the door closed, something incredible happened. I felt relief. The weeks that followed were quiet. I sold the house, gave away furniture, and packed one suitcase. No calls, no messages, just peace. My neighbor Ellie helped me through every step, never asking for anything in return. On the morning of my departure, Ellie drove me to the bus station. The sky was clear. My suitcase was light. My heart was steady. Just as we sat down, I saw them running toward me. Panic, regret, fear. They begged me not to go. They talked about family, about inheritance, about what people would say. Not once did they ask if I was happy. I handed them letters. In those letters, I told them everything, every sacrifice. Every night I went without, every lie I forgave. I told them I had sold the house and that the money would fund my life. Not their comfort. I explained my final will, how kindness would be rewarded, not blood alone. They read in silence. The bus was called. Tanisha asked, through tears, if I hated them. I answered honestly, no, but I finally love myself enough to leave. I hugged Ellie, picked up my suitcase, and boarded the bus. As it pulled away, I didn't look back. For the first time in 70 years, I wasn't someone's safety net. I was simply Vivian. And my life had finally begun. If this story touched your heart, tell me in the comments, what city are you watching from? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story so more people remember, no matter how old you are, it's never too late to stand up for yourself.